And there's more Drag Race news. So we already talked about Cardi B coming on board to be the first guest judge of season. Why is this annoying ass clip? I'm trying to cut it out, but I don't know how to. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll just have to ignore it because it's on Out Magazine or whatever. So Out Magazine did an article on RuPaul's Drag Race, that sort of thing, and they were basically talking about how she transcended expectations as a Drag Race judge. Now, some people were saying that she was more like the villain judge of the season, and I don't think she was necessarily the villain judge. She was just being very honest about, her critiques and all the other stuff. So I was definitely here for a lot of what she had to say in that situation. I was like, well, wait a minute, I forgot where I put. Oh yeah, I got it. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed what it was that she brought to the show. Now, of course, with that, they're gonna compare because these two don't like each other. But pick a list of broads that are in the hip hop game that Nicki don't get along with. We'll be here all night. But the biggest rivalry that she has is these two. So of course they're, the gay blogs or the gay social media or the homosexual social media, as we like to call it, are going to bring up the comparisons. So Cardi B's stint as a guest judge at the premiere of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 18 has already been solidified as one of the great pop star guest drag race premieres of all time, with the Grammy Award-winning rapper's genuine excitement and respect for Mama Ru's queendom and overall praise for queer and trans artists over the years being in full display at a time when beloved pop stars are taking a sharp turn towards the conservative right. It wasn't that foreign of a concept that Cardi, being an out bisexual woman, would be an excellent drag race judge, a point that already stood on its own. Moreover, many fans of the show were familiar with the rapper's history of supporting drag artists and trans women, and therefore anticipated that this was bound to be a legendary legend episode of the show. But while the new season of Drag Race was promoted with footage of Cardi B's as episode one's extra special guest judge, having the time of her life, the Levitical Plus community was still coming to terms with months of controversial remarks from fellow female rapper Nicki Minaj, MAGA Minaj, who has been reposting transphobic views, agreeing with Elon Musk's views on trans youth, and even got called out by former collaborator Kim Petras for that rhetoric. Nearly 10 years after a feud was starting, with Minaj reportedly sharing insults about Cardi B's daughter, which we was up in here talking about, like, you don't want nobody to talk about your child. So how you out here talking about other people's kids? They say, here we all found ourselves again, as Minaj wrote that Cardi B's daughter was ugly and a vulture on social media posts from as recently as October 2025 via Vibe. Throughout November and December, Minaj continued arguing with Cardi B and others incessantly, even though Minaj has always been beloved by queer people and showed support for the Levitiqua plus community on a few occasions. She continued her descent into MAGA land by attending a conference hosted by widow Erica Kirk for Turning Point USA, an organization founded by her late husband, Charlie Kirk. Now, on Friday, January 2nd, Drag Race Season 18 premiered on MTV and showcased Cardi B as a fiercely supporting ally for trans women and drag artists. The rapper was a lovely, supportive, and hilarious judge who shared actual critiques without punching down or making anyone feel bad on their very first time ever walking the runway. The respect and admiration for Levitical Plus talent was then evidenced even further by a gag-worthy untucked moment, thankfully shown on the main episode. So yeah, we had that on the main episode, but also, I'm trying to remember, didn't Cardi come in during Untucked? I fell asleep during that point. So I'm like, I could have sworn she came in on Untucked. Remind me in the comments if she did. But I could have sworn that, oh wait, she did come in during the episode. And then I remember on Untucked, she did bring Tokyo Styles and Erica LaPearl in the workroom. They said, so yeah, for those who don't know, or probably do know from watching the episode, they're two trans women who have been on the rapper's glam squad for many years, who became famous in their own right. Because Tokyo Styles, remember, she had not a talk show, she had a show on WeTV, I believe. It used to come on right after the Braxtons. And so they were thrilled, and basically from what we saw to be kikiing with the queens in the workroom. And so then they said, this is what she said, these are the dolls while sitting alongside Styles and La Pearl. I can't live without them, literally. So, because who else is gonna beat that face and make it look good but the trans girls? Since no shade, and this is no shade to her, but a lot of you girls are running out here getting bodies to be built like a trans woman. Might as well get your face beat by one and a wig put on top of your head and a lace front, designed by one. Now, Mikey Meeks, a 29-year-old contestant from Orlando, Florida, praised their work as queer art at its finest, telling Cardi B directly how meaningful it is to have an artist at your caliber incorporating our community into what you do. And said thank you, and it said, and I learned a lot from your community. And this is what Cardi said. Now, I do think that it's great with the allies, and but look here, I gotta go with being devil's advocate. It comes a point where it's like, can we start putting our people at the forefront of stuff? Like, there shouldn't only be trans people or queer people in the background making a lot of you artists look good. A lot of us need to be at the forefront as well, because we're the movers and the shakers and the ones that's creating all the art. So why can't we showcase that? Why can't we have like an openly queer artist who's out here doing the same type of quality work that an ally is able to do? So there needs to be a lot of that. But I know like a lot of these executives, even though some of them get down with people in our community, are scared to get behind and support actual queer talent. So then Styles edited said, I remember when I first started my transition, this is how I learned how to do makeup, RuPaul's Drag Race. And then just seeing all the looks and stuff, it just always inspires me. Even here, I was like, we should do this and recreate this. Sometimes we bring the culture to the mainstream hip hop field. Well, that's not sometimes, child. If you really look at the epicenter of hip hop with like b-boying and breaking and a lot of stuff, a lot of those elements of hip hop comes from, it's similar to ballroom. So if you really look at the history of hip hop, whatever, queer art and things of that nature has always, in some sort of way, gone hand in hand with hip hop. If you really look into the history of it all, so even like with the DJing and stuff, and with the club culture and all this stuff, and incorporating that. So a lot of that has always been in there in a lot of ways, especially when it comes to the art aspect. So yeah, they do incorporate a lot of that into the thing. It all goes hand in hand. So Cardi said, I don't care if people feel uncomfortable. Whatever I like, I do not care. I look right here because I've got my dolls. And the men be looking, and I'm not gonna spill tea. Now, the queens that laugh at that, and that's the dog, because I'm like, child, if you only knew. Um, and so it was cute that they came in and did the whole untucked thing. And I know some people going to say the things they want to say, but definitely, I can always tell people being authentic or they full of shit. But I definitely felt that Cardi was being sincere and that sort of thing. She definitely loves the community. She definitely has respect for the community. And I know some people, but she's made homophobic and derogatory things. I'm like, she's petty like I am. If you say some crazy shit to me, I don't care if you trans, I don't care if you gay, I don't care if you homo, any part of the LGBT or Levitical spectrum, I'm reading your ass down to the floor. I'm not sparing you because of your sexual orientation or your gender or your height. It's like, no, that's part of reading. Reading is we take a flaw that we look at from y'all and exploit it to the highest heavens of, I was gonna say the highest heavens of hell, but that would be an oxymoron because heaven and hell can't be one of the I mean, I guess some people say it's one and the same. But yeah, it's like she kind of has that ballroom aesthetic, which is like, what the queers do is that, yeah, you come at us, we don't give a fuck. We're gonna read you down to the ground. Everything is um there's no off limit type situation. Same thing how Nikki was going out here making derogatory comments about Cardi's son. I mean Cardi's daughter, I mean. Cardi clapped back. But that's neither here nor there. But since they brought up and we talking about the whole Nicki Minaj situation, it is something that we got to bring up. And no shade, but I definitely feel like Cardi was a better judge. And this is not me coming from a biased situation, but looking back, because I did recently watch the one with Nicki, and she did what she did at that time. And Heidi still don't like her ass because she went in. She was a little harsh with her critiques or whatever. Cardi definitely feels like she's a fan and she's coming from a genuine place. They even said during the show, she's like, "Can I come back and do the show weekly?" While that would be cute, I don't think they could afford you. So they said, given Cardi B's long-standing feud between MAGA Minaj The somewhat recent rise of MAGA Minaj and fan favorite Queen Heidi in Closet. Funny, I didn't even read the article, and then I just bring it up, recalling the intensely negative critique she received from Minaj as a guest judge on Drag Race season 12. The timing of Cardi B as a Drag Race season 18 judge felt even more iconic than it would have already been, as expected. That parallel did spark some intense discourse between Drag Race fans, the Barbs, and the Barty gang. Oddly enough, the drag race tie-ins for these two rappers never really had much to do with their overall feud, except they now paint a very different picture as we ring in the new year on the heels of problematic statements from one side and genuine support from the other side. So before assuming that this is just another Nicki Minaj versus Cardi B feud, timeline reheating the same crunchy nachos that every other news outlet, celebrity-oriented social media page, and gossip blog has already covered extensively. We're here to assure you that it's not. Stick around to see. Well, they said stick around to see what we mean, and I guess they go through the whole history of the timeline and all that other stuff, which we don't need to go through all of that because it goes through the Nikki versus Heidi in Closet, and then her going on the Boys Be Boys thing. But somebody tried to come up in my comments and play in my face, but that's not what she meant. Don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. I've been telling y'all that. Don't play with me when it comes to the intelligence thing. What you're not going to do is insult my intelligence because you want to move the needle and you a damn groupie over there being a fan, because I'm gonna cuss your ass out and I'm gonna block you. Which I didn't even do that at first, but then that child told me to go and get a real job, and I'm like, wait a minute, bitch, how you telling me to get a real job? A, I have a real job outside of this, and B, I get paid to do this YouTube thing monthly. What are you talking about, Willis? So get a real job, bitch. Maybe you need to go find you one. So anyway, I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Um, in regards to Cardi B's appearance, do you think, like, in regards of one of the main season premiere judges, because they always try to find a big name to come on board and do the guest judge season premiere thing, do you think that between Cardi and Nicki, I guess we're gonna have to do it. You team this one and team that one. They trying to make it like it should be that type of discourse, but in a way, you kind of played into that. Out. You can't sit there and say that that's not what y'all was doing. That's literally what y'all was doing. Um, did you like what Cardi brought in regards to, judging the girls on the season premiere? I definitely want to hear from you in regards of what your overall thoughts on their styles are. I'm not expecting them to be one and the same, but who did you prefer? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below.